A CEO and billionaire moves himself and his company out of Lori Lightfoot's Chicago. He heads to Florida and gives GOP candidates an incredible gift. And we're going to get into the blue exodus from Democrat states to Republican states. And we're going to figure out why it's happening. Hello and welcome. A billionaire moved himself and his company out of Lori Lightfoot's crime-infested Chicago and headed on down to Ron DeSantis's Florida. He also did something to show that he really appreciates law and order and a safer environment for himself and his employees. He gave Republican candidates $100 million in donations. Now, the CEO, his name is Ken Griffin. He was the richest man in Illinois, and he's moving his company to Florida after two of his executives were robbed on the mean streets of Lori Lightfoot's Chicago. As Ross Perot would have put it, you can hear a giant sucking sound of tax dollars that just left Illinois, Larry. All right, I'm sorry. That was my worst impression of the little hand grenade with ears. But the point is that there's a giant exodus that is leaving blue jurisdictions and heading for the safe havens of red jurisdictions. And it's all because the Democrats just can't get their act together. And okay, this is from the Daily Wire. The financier also donated $48 million to Republicans running in federal races, including $18.5 million in contributions to the Congressional Leadership Fund. That's a Republican super PAC, according to data from Open Secrets. Griffin also donated $50 million toward the unsuccessful Illinois gubernatorial campaign of Richard Irvin, who was defeated in the state's primary race. Now, at the federal level, we have progressive billionaire George Soros, who contributed more than any other donor to campaigns. And it's high time that business leaders took an interest in helping law and order candidates to make things better for their employees and their businesses. Now, this man just upped and left with his business and his family to go halfway across the country. And all you have to do to figure out why is look at how the Democrats are no longer representing the people that they were elected to represent. And this thing is systemic in the Democratic Party. Americans are leaving, they're leaving blue states in droves. Like, for example, in California, okay, California is one of the most beautiful states in the country, but it's also known to have the highest taxes, the highest real estate prices, the largest homeless population, and the highest crime rate and business regulations. Watch this.
In many parts of the state, you've got tent cities, crime is out of control, schools at the bottom percentile.
There are people who are dying on our streets. The estimate is that 1,000 people will die on the streets of Los Angeles.
Unbelievable. Now, more than 360,000 people have left California in 2021 alone, in what some people are calling the California exodus. And they're heading to states like Texas and Arizona. In New York and other blue northeastern states, people are leaving for Florida. Now, the Democrats are wondering why. Well, here's why.
Violent video after violent video. Some are hard to watch. Who could forget this horrific shooting? A gunman opening fire on a Bronx street. Two children are caught between
Look at
the
the
gunman
kids.
and his target. The shooter just continues shooting. In this one, you see a woman being kicked from behind as she walks down the steps of the Queens Plaza subway station in Long Island City. She is then hit over the head with a hammer as many as 13 times as she is shoved to the ground and robbed. There's also moped riding thieves and this home robbery suspect. You see him run up to the victim and point a gun at her waist as she is opening her front door.
Now, it's real simple for these people to figure out what's going on in their states and why people are leaving. But the problem is for Democrat leaders in these states, you have to be a complete moron to not figure it out. All right, you're not doing your job. For the longest time, people in red states, they worried that the influx of people coming from the blue states was going to harm their way of life because they would vote the same way they did when they were in the blue states and ruined their states. But what's being discovered is that most of the people who are moving from blue states to red states, they're just conservatives that were fed up and couldn't take it anymore. Now, I don't know what this CEO's politics are, it looks like he supports the Republicans over the Democrats. That doesn't mean that he's a Republican. Okay, I haven't looked him up, but the fact of the matter is that we now need more people like him making decisions to make their people safe again. One of the big lies that liberals like to say, liberals like California's Governor Gavin Newsom, who recently said that red states have a higher crime rate than blue states. Now, while that may be true, it's because of Democrat-run cities inside those red states. If you removed blue cities from red states, they would be the safest places in the country. Everything Democrats touch turns to shit, and the American people are fed up with it, and they're voting with their feet. Now, people are leaving New York in droves as well. According to MarketWatch, they reported at the end of September that people may not love New York anymore. According to a new report by Move Buddha, which is a site where people can calculate their moving costs, New York lost more residents than any other state between April 2020 and July 2021. So what happened during the summer of 2020? Remember the summer of love riots? Okay, this is according to the U.S. Census Bureau. Okay, New York lost 319,000 people. New York State's population as of 2020 was 20.2 million, according to the Census Bureau. There were around 282,000 queries during this time. New York is the fourth most searched state to move out of this year. That's behind New Jersey and Illinois. Now, what do these states all have in common? They are run by Democrats, and not just Democrats, but progressive woke Democrats who do not govern to make their people's lives better. They govern ideologically with woke progressive policies that are destroying their states. So on one hand, it's their policies are really harming their own blue jurisdictions, but they're helping red jurisdictions because they're purging the conservatives out of their blue states. Okay? And the red states are reaping the rewards. So you would think that the voters inside blue states would see that they're starting to live in real hellholes and that they would hold their people accountable. But it doesn't seem to be happening because Democrats keep winning in these states. So what formula are they using? Well, Democrats say things like, don't vote for the other guy because he's really terrible, without saying, vote for me because this is what I'm going to do to make your life better. They have a Marxist progressive woke agenda, and that's how they're ruling. And we're going to see a split in the country very soon where you're going to have nothing but blue people in blue states and red people in red states, because it's coming to that. Things are getting so bad in this country, thanks to the idiot in the White House, that people are making decisions. They're voting with their feet, and they're moving to where they believe they would live in freedom and they'd be able to prosper without the government on their back. Okay, that's it. Have a good one. We'll see you in the next one. Thanks for spending this time with us. You know, you can read all of our stories at rpwmedia.com, where you can send us tips of news that you think we should write about. You can also join our newsletter and get the latest commentary and opinion by our writers. Take care.